This series was funded by great viewers just like you over on Patreon. Check out the description or end of the video to hear how you can take part in making the show even more amazing. Hey everyone, Gaijin Goomba here, and welcome back to another episode of Witch Ninja, a series that looks at media's most popular shinobi to see which are good and which are bad. Man, who would have thought that a 15-year-old animated series would have stoked this level of nostalgia? Granted, Avatar: The Last Airbender was, and still is, an amazing show. Exceptional animation, a fantastic spanning world, with detailed, and I mean detailed, inspirations of not just the titular elemental bending coming directly from martial arts, but also character, geographical, and architectural designs from all over East Asia. So much so that I could easily do a video on just that.
But let's be real here, it was the characters that made the show. From the main staff to the supporting characters, the writing and execution of each member of the cast is what solidified Avatar: The Last Airbender into a timeless classic. After all, if it wasn't, there wouldn't be this level of hype for a live-action remake on Netflix. But for this video, we're putting a spotlight on the greatest character to walk the franchise. A lad whose redemption arc rivals that of Anakin Skywalker, Steve Harrington, and Vegeta.
Hello, Zuko here, but I guess you probably already know me.
I'm already getting mid-2000s flashbacks of Katang versus Zutara shippers, but it's true. Ask anyone who's seen the entirety of this series, and you won't find a more compelling character. But you know, there's been something that's been bugging me for a long time about Zuko. Throughout the entirety of the series, Zuko's showcased exemplary skills in firebending, fencing, and hand-to-hand martial arts, but something that I think has been really overlooked by the general community is his impeccable skills of infiltration tactics.
No, really. Within the entirety of the 3 seasons of Avatar, there's not 1, but 4 different accounts of Zuko stealing into enemy territory.
This gave Zuko a bit of a reputation for being, well, quite ninja. Of course, most of us back then merely made that statement in a joking sense, but now, 15 years later, with all this fresh hype for the franchise, it kinda begs the question, just how ninja is Zuko? A question that my patrons overwhelmingly wanted answered. So, with primary sources like the Bansen Shukai, Shoninki, and other various resources gathered from Japan, let's see how literally by the book Zuko is, because it's one thing to be sneaky, but it's another thing to be truly ninja.
But before we go any further, 2 quick things. 1, there will be massive plot spoilers, so if you haven't seen the show and want to, now's the time to back out. And 2, unfortunately, we're going to be limited with just showing still images when it comes to showing examples from the series. We just got done fighting 1 copyright issue with Ghibli. We don't need another one from Viacom. So, Zuko, where in the world do we even get started with this guy?
Honestly, the very beginning. See, something that I think a lot of people will overlook when comparing Zuko to historical ninja is everything he didn't do that involved sneaking around. Despite his rough start, Zuko is a talented firebender, able to use his elemental bending ability not only as a method of attacking, but also utility. During the 2-part episode Siege of the North near the end of the 1st season, Zuko was preparing to sneak into the Northern Water Tribe to kidnap main character Aang and bring it back to the Fire Nation. During this, his uncle Iroh reminds him to use his Breath of Fire technique as it could save his life, which, considering how much time Zuko had spent swimming under Arctic waters, it likely did, utilizing firebending to prevent hypothermia.
And not only did Zuko's utility firebending save his life during that infiltration, but it also kept him composed while he was taking the cooler part in Season 3 Episode 14, The Boiling Rock.
Firebending for survival. You know, that thing that ninja literally means. Now, for any long-time viewers of Witch Ninja, you know exactly where I'm going, but for those of you newcomers to the series, let me put it this way. Fire, in truth, is infinitely more iconic to shinobi than shuriken and ninjato swords. Ninja had more kaki, or fire tools and weapons, than any other type at their disposal. How do I know this? Because within the Bansen Shukai, a collection of knowledge from Iga and Koga ninja clans from dozens of generations ago, from pages 357 to 458, there are nothing but fire tool explanations and recipes. That's 70% of the entire Nikki volumes that make up the explanations for ninja tools within the book. And if that's not convincing enough, let me quote the preface to the chapter. The use of fire tools is universally considered one of the most basic principles underlying ninjutsu, and it's of utmost importance within the art. The primary principle of this skill is that no matter how strongly a castle or position is fortified, the technique of setting it on fire and reducing it to ashes will be effective.
Let's also not forget that Iga itself still claims to this day that the Iga Ryu School of Ninjutsu specialized in fire, and boy do they show it. displaying Horokuhia hand grenades, Hia rocket arrows, Umebi mines, Teppo rifles, Yakuraiju firecrackers, and Ozutsu cannons within their museum. But there are plenty more fire tools used for survival. Kayakure Ire and Insho Ire powder boxes, Tanago Koro Taimatsu pocket torches, and Hyuchi Dogu flint and steel kits were only a handful of the dozens upon dozens of utility fire techniques held within texts like the Bansen Shukai.
So in a very real way, the fact that our theoretical shinobi Zuko is a firebender already puts him leagues ahead of any other potential ninja in the series. But of course, that's all likely just coincidental, right? Surely DiMartino and Konietzko didn't carefully craft Zuko to coincide being a firebender and a ninja, right? Well, strap in, gang, because I'm about to blow your mind on just how literal, by the book, Zuko is as a shinobi. Let's start with the first time we really saw Zuko as a hardcore ninja. Season 1, Episode 13, The Blue Spirit. To give you guys a little context, in this episode, Fire Nation Admiral Zhao, the ongoing main antagonist of the season, captures Aang in hopes of having the last threat to the Fire Nation's world-conquering war sent to Fire Lord Ozai, Zuko's father. However, believing this to be the only way to restore his honor to his father and country, Zuko sneaks into Po Huai's stronghold to get Aang for himself, and he does this behind the mask of the Blue Spirit. Now, before I start ranting over how I can take just about any scene from this episode and relate it back to the concept of Inin, or the ninjutsu way of stealing in as cited in the Bansen Shukai, let's talk about the Blue Spirit mask just really quick. What's interesting is that the Blue Spirit isn't some incredibly obscure legend or alias that Zuko took. It's actually a very well-known folk character within the world of the show. Not only is the mask itself easy to purchase based on the vendors we see in the show, but both Iroh and Admiral Zhao recognize the mask and the character by name. It took a little sleuthing, but it turns out that the Blue Spirit is a character from the popular Fire Nation play Love Amongst the Dragons, a play that Zuko regrettably brings up with the gang in Season 3.
Ugh. My mother used to take us to see them. They butchered Love Amongst the Dragons every year.
Which is kind of ironic considering Zuko's mother Ursa was a lead performer in that exact play before she was married off to Ozai, despite already being engaged to her co-star Ikem. In fact, we can assume that Zuko got the Blue Spirit mask from her mother's hidden collection before she was banished. But man, that's an entirely other story. Point being, the Blue Spirit is not only a well-known folklore character, but also one whose story and personality is told through theater and ninja alike, which is about to become very important.
Indeed, because it's those 2 points that link Zuko's masquerading as the Blue Spirit into real-world ninja history. First of all, let's consider the Kumogakure Ryu Ninja School. No, this one. This particular school of ninjutsu was founded in the 1500s by Igehei Naizaemon Nojo Ienaga. And though it was a school that taught non-violent techniques, there were 2 specializations that cement similarities with Zuko. Firstly, Kumogakure ninja were taught how to be able to light a fire in any given circumstance of weather or situation.
Sounds familiar.
And Kumogakure ninja specialized in the utilization of demonic masks, often seen in no theater, to not only hide their identity from the enemy, but also to scare the ever-loving bejesus out of their opponent.
Sounds extremely familiar.
But that's not all. Within the Iga Ninja Museum, 4 unique masks are on display. These are the masks of the Iga no Shiki, or 4 demons of Iga, also known as Fujiwara no Chikata no Yonki. According to the Taiheki, during the Heian period, General Fujiwara Senpo started a rebellion against the government, and from his forces based on Mount Mikuni in Iga, unleashed 4 demons. Shaki, the demon of fire, Koki, the demon of mystics, Shikami, the demon of earth, and Kobeshimi, the demon of water.
Ah, so we already got a sort of 4-element Avatar vibe going on here.
But it gets better. Because while legends say that these 4 demons could cause storms, floods, raging flames, and the ability to hide in fog or straight up disappear like in the case of Koki, in reality, these were some of the first shinobi of Japan, utilizing ninjutsu techniques to appear magical and powerful in nature. And as you might expect, the tale of these 4 demons became a popular subject matter for the mass-focused No theater, becoming icons of not just elemental demons and No, but the legacy of ninja. Yet another connection between Zuko as the Blue Spirit and shinobi history with masks.
Alright, point taken. But how exactly is Zuko's infiltration as the Blue Spirit, quote, by the book?
Well, for that, we gotta look back at the Bansen Shukai collection under the Inin volume. See, when it comes to ninjutsu, there are 2 types of infiltration methods, Inin and Yonin. Yonin, to put it in layman's terms, are techniques and processes of openly sneaking into your enemy's territory through disguise, while Inin is the process of sneaking into enemy territory while not being seen at all. And trust me, Zuko performs both of these with flying colors, but let's stay focused on his Inin work as the Blue Spirit. Again, I can take seemingly any frame from Zuko's infiltration of Pohuai Stronghold and give it ninja legitimacy from ninja texts. But for the sake of simplicity, let's tackle this in chronological order. Starting from Zuko's timing of infiltration, because yes, even that has ninja merit. Zuko, knowing that Admiral Zhao was going to beat him to capturing Aang by stalking him for his plan, snuck into Pohuai Stronghold the night after Zhao arrived with the now captured Avatar, though it actually almost seemed too easy for him. Zhao, drinking in his certain victory, was not only himself distracted with self-postulating, but he rounded up all of the guards in the stronghold and held an overblown celebration and speech for the Avatar's capture. What a better time for Inin, right? Well, the Bansen Shukai confirms this tactic. Inin Volume 1, page 172 under 20 points on the art of infiltrating while the enemy is off guard. Point 2. Although people tend to be sharp and attentive at the beginning, they are so busy with multiple and miscellaneous duties that sometimes they become confused through hardship. Next, there's point 5 of 20 to consider. If the enemy arrives and takes up a position after sunset, when he's still busy building quarters, preparing meals, washing horses with hot water, and has not settled down into a set routine. And point 8. If an enemy army secures a victory and you are beaten badly, it will be conceited and overconfident. This is a certainty.
So let's see. Busy with multiple and miscellaneous duties? Yeah, I think prioritizing his glowing testimonials and self-absorbed speech over vigilance and leadership counts. Taking up a position at night with no set routine? Yeah, see the above point. Lastly, a victory secured by an enemy leading to conceited and overconfident behavior? Oh yeah, that was Zhao to a T.
But you want to know the really funny thing? Even Zuko's most minute infiltration tactics can be tied back to the Bansen Shukai's Encyclopedia of Inin Techniques. Heck, going back to the previous 20 points on infiltrating while the enemy is off guard, point 10 is as follows. It is difficult to steal in if the place is quiet, while it is easy if it's noisy. This is how to judge the right time. And it couldn't get much louder with Zhao yelling his speech at the entire regiment stationed at the stronghold, which Zuko absolutely took advantage of. But as we get into Zuko's execution, let's skip ahead to Inin Volume 2, under the 12 points on appropriate places for infiltration. Point 6 says the following. Through the gutter of a waterway in ancient times, someone named Shimotsuge no Kozaru infiltrated Takura Castle of Ise through this point and set the castle ablaze to its ruin. And how did Zuko go both in and out of Pohuai Stronghold? Yeah, it's water gutter system. Finally, as far as the infiltration of Pohuai goes, once Zuko got Aang free, he had to get him back out. And there's an old ninja poem in the Bansen Shukai under 10 points to consider before the mission with Inin Volume 1 that states, when going on a shinobi activity, venturing out in a two-man team is difficult. However, on solo shinobi missions, there are no such concerns. Aang's slippery, but he's no ninja. But Zuko mitigated this problem using the advice from the following poem cited in the book. When you steal in with an ordinary person, the first thing you should do is mark and show him the way out and how to escape. Despite not being able to speak, Zuko laid out every direction Aang needed to go in order to flee.
But while that may be the end of the episode, it wasn't the end of the Blue Spirit. There was one last grand appearance at the Earth Kingdom capital of Ba Sing Se.
Yep, having learned that Appa, Aang's Sky Bison, was in the capital, Zuko donned the mask once more. This time though, he needed to not only Inin sneak, but also get intel, which he does in a masterfully ninja way. Coming across one of the Dai Li, Ba Sing Se's Secret Service commandos, Zuko purposely aggravated the agent into a chase down a blindsided alley. Thinking that the Blue Spirit was standing defiantly, the Dai Li agent attacked, only to realize he's been attacking a literal straw man while Zuko was able to get behind him, interrogate him, and properly disposed of him in whatever manner was needed.
Alright gang, you know what this is. Say it with me now, the Bunshin no Jutsu. A hypothetical shinobi technique that gave the illusion of a single ninja being split into several. Theoretically accomplished by either identically dressed ninja acting in unison, utilizing high speeds to create the ever-memed after image, or the more practical method that Zuko executed, rigging straw or wooden decoys to distract enemies to allow the ninja to either get away from or get the drop on their opponent. I mean, making this thing was simple enough. All Zuko needed was some random dark clothes and another Blue Spirit mask, of which, as we already established, were easy enough to get. Man, that's a lot of Inin.
Yep, and that was just Zuko as the Blue Spirit. We didn't even mention how by the book Zuko was when it came to the infiltration of the Southern Raiders with Katara in Season 3, or the Yonin infiltration mission that Zuko did with Sokka. Yeah, remember how we said that there was Inin sneak infiltration and Yonin disguised open infiltration? Yeah, next time we're gonna be all over that. But between this video and our part 2 on Zuko's literal ninja skills, there's another game coming just over the horizon we've been waiting for years. a game that will not only be the subject of a few Witch Ninja and Culture Shock videos, but will likely dominate my Twitch streams for quite a while. The Ghost of Tsushima. So between this video and Zuko's Part 2, we absolutely need to drop another Witch Ninja on the Ghost himself and see just how ninja Jin is in this game. And as always, I gotta give a huge thank you to all my patrons who make my content possible, including getting me to finally sit down and start hashing out the nearly 3 episodes worth of ninja history and folklore that makes up Zuko. So if you want to join us on our never-ending dig to discover culture in games and anime, sub up and get notified because we're not even close to being done with Zuko in the game. And be sure to check us out over on Twitch where we're breaking down Jin's ninjadom live. But until then everyone, this is Gaijin Goomba, signing out.